Hello YouTubers, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be on planet Earth. I'm going to tell you a story today. It's not a particularly happy story, but it is 100% true. And this is one of the things, just one of the things, that the narcissistic psychopaths in our lives did to my family. Right? It's just one of them. And I was doing it before, this is take 2, but then I realised I went off in a tangent, and also my daughter tried ringing me and it stopped recording and stuff, so I have turned the Wi-Fi off now. You wait, my phone will ring and they'll go, why is you not answering the WhatsApp? Why has you not got the Wi-Fi? Anyway, we promised our kids when we moved down to Gib, because it's a big change for children, isn't it? It's a trauma. We promised them 2 things. We said they could swim in the sea next to the boat, because it's a hot country, not really something we could ever have done at Brighton. And also that I would get them 2 kittens, 2 little pet kittens, which we did. We moved down and we got 2 adorable little kittens, a little boy and a little girl, and we called them Alfie and Mittens. And right, where do I start? I had to get a job. I was the first to get a job in Gib because we weren't familiar with the boat. We didn't know if Sea Lion would have any traumas, and Graham's very mechanic. Well, he is a mechanic. He's a fully qualified mechanic, amongst many other things. And he would be on hand with the 2 kids, because we couldn't put the kids straight in school. We had to get all our paperwork in order, and part of what we needed to do was at least one of us needed a job in order for the administration to then say, you can put them in school. So I got a job at the King's Bastion, which is an old fort. It's where the last great siege was held by the British against the Spanish, led by, I believe, General Elliot. And they've turned it into a leisure centre. So it's an ancient fort with 15-foot thick walls, but the government in Gib have fixed it up, and they've got bowling alleys. They had an ice rink then upstairs. In fact, it used to melt and leak all over the bowling alley. They've got rid of that now. A cinema, fruit machines, pool tables, all kinds of stuff goes on in the leisure centre. King's Bastion, look it up, King's Bastion, Gibraltar. And you'll find the John Copeland famous painting. He was American, I think. And the original painting is in Guildhall in London, where Meghan and Harry didn't turn up for lunch because, well, I don't know why. Maybe their invitation got stuck in the post. Anyway, so I got one of the most coveted jobs in Gibraltar at the time, I suppose it still is now, was the assistant manager of the bowling centre, King's Bowl, in the leisure centre. And I loved that job, and I loved my bosses there. They're still here in Gib. They're a marvellous family. I love them. And so we had these 2 little kittens, and Graham was still not looking for work at that point because it takes time. We got the paperwork sorted, and we got them into school. As soon as we got them into school, I said to Graham, I actually yelled at him because he was taking advantage a little bit, I felt. And I said, Tom, you went out and got a bloody job now. Kids are in school, I'm working. And he went out, and he came back about 20 minutes later, and he said, I've got a job. I said, you're joking. I had to buy a printer and print off 10 CVs every day and trudge the streets of Gibraltar, handing out 10 every day for a week until I got a job. What do you mean you just got a job? He said, I have. I've just been in the Dolphin Safari office. The fella in there, who we now know as our lovely Tim Montgomery, our boss, he said, well, I'm short a crew. I've got plenty of sales reps, but I'm short a crew. And he said, you've got to do these qualifications. They do them in the school next door. At that point, it was about 500 quid. And Graham came back and he said, I've booked with the school and I'm going to do the ticket sales on the quayside while I wait to qualify, and then I'll be on the boat. I thought, that's marvellous. Well, so he was going out to work, and we really didn't know these psychopaths were in the area, because until you have had a real narcissistic psychopath in your life, oh, you don't know anything. Believe me. And I hope this story demonstrates, should there be any normal, nice Meghan Markle fans, believe me, people like me and others, we know what we're talking about when we say we recognise things in her. Well, very quickly, because Graham had a job in the marina, he discovered these 2 holy horrors. And they do work with flying monkeys, and they have a head henchman. If you think Meghan Markle's got Christopher Boozy or Omid Scobie, they've got their own henchman. I'm going to call him Maggot, because that is actually what we call him in real life. Behind his back, of course. Well, I don't talk to him. I don't have anything to do with him, but he's a slithering little maggot. Anyway, so I became aware, because Graham was working in the marina. He said, there's problems. There's a lot of people being arrested for stuff they haven't done. There's a lot of people being slandered and smeared for stuff they haven't done. He said these characters, they relish, they enjoy breaking up marriages, they enjoy trashing people's characters, destroying lives. Some people have actually been driven to suicide. I mean, no one, thankfully, has actually ever killed themselves, but a few people have attempted. I mean, when you've got a real narcissistic psychopath on your hands, let alone two of them, with a henchman, in a small community, you haven't got a clue. And that's coming from someone who's been in Spanish prison. I've lived through some holy horrors. I grew up in a haunted house. Graham's spent 3.5 years in prison. I mean, you just can't imagine what we've been through. We were on the run together. We were in the Daily Mail. And we'd never come across this. And we thought we could handle anything until we met two narcissistic psychopaths. Okay? Anyway, we've got the kids, these two kittens, little Alfie and Mittens. They were only about 8 weeks old. I love kittens, they're so cute. And I knew this henchman sort of walked around in the area, and every day I'd go to work at the bowling centre. I'd avoid eye contact, and I'd try and get past him without talking to him, because I'd realised no matter what you said to him, even if it was just good morning, he'd make something out of it to cause shit. Well, one day he's so clever, he kept like that to get my eye contact, and he went, oh, hello. He talks like that, he sounds like Gollum, he looks like Gollum. In fact, let's call him that, because we do call him that as well. We call him Maggot, we call him Worm, we call him Gollum. He's horrible, absolutely horrible. I won't say his real name. And he went, oh, hello, Fiona, you off to work at a bowling centre this evening? Oh, don't you look nice in your uniform? How's things? And me, being brought up to be quite polite, I felt awkward to just blank him and walk past, which is what I should have done. And I went, oh, thank you, Gollum. Yes, I'm just off to work. I'm a little worried because we've got these two little kittens that we got for our kids, and they're only 8 weeks old. They're in the boat. And I just want to make sure they're all right, and the kids will be home from school now, so the little kittens will be on the boat on their own for about half an hour. And he said, oh, I love kittens. What colour are they? And I said, oh, they're tabbies. A little boy and a little girl cat, they're tabbies. Well, within 24 hours, and these two kittens were inside the boat. I was worried they'd fall in the water, so we kept them inside the boat till they were 12 weeks old. Within 24 hours, the complaints from other boat owners started. Your cats have been on my boat shitting on it. I said, no, they haven't. They haven't been out of my boat. They're locked in my boat. What are you talking about? I've heard, Gollum told me. Oh, they've been scratching my mast. Oh, you're going to get thrown out the marina. Oh, my God. And this Gollum and these two hangs around, shall we put it, with the two narcissistic psychopaths. They work their magic. And a friend of mine who owned the Ship pub, she came to me one night and she said, Fiona, this was months later when the kittens were older, they were cats. She said, you've got to be careful with those cats, you've got to keep them locked in the boat, because she said, I run the pub and I hear people saying things at the bar, and she said, I know Gollum and the narcs, you don't know what they're like. They're winding people up so much that quite a few of the locals have said they're going to murder the cats. And she said these two bastards are encouraging it, and so is Gollum. They're positively encouraging it. I said to her, there's nothing I can do. They're cats. They've got to be able to go out. Now, Alfie particularly was really friendly. He'd go in the restaurant, everybody loved him, and of course the people would feed him, which would encourage him. Well, they went missing. They went missing one night, and kids were little, they were heartbroken. They did escape. They were kept. Someone had kidnapped them and had them locked up, and God knows what they did to them. They had them for 2 weeks, and they came back, and they were both mentally disturbed. In fact, the little curl cat, she licked all her fur off until she bled. And anyway, then it happened again. But Mittens, she wouldn't leave the boat. She would not go out the boat. But Alfie, I couldn't stop him. And Alfie was Benji's cat, and he just disappeared. And word was that he'd been killed. And then the next week I saw the chief narcissist. And he was stroking one of the local cats. And as he was doing it, he was looking at me and he went, "Don't you just love cats, Fiona?" And that was one of my first experiences of these two fucking psychotic, ill people. And it's gone on for 12 years. I mean, the first 4 years, Graham and I didn't know what to make of them. They did terrible things to our family and other families and other people. Most people move away from Jib. But Graham and I determined characters, and we decided we were going to stick around. We weren't going to let them get away with it, and we didn't. And they are getting their comeuppance now, I'm very happy to say. Not from us. I'll tell you when I got a lick at them. When I saw the first season of The Crown. And I was so impressed with the girl who played the Queen. What was her name again? Claire Foy. She played her so well. Just like our young Queen. And I started watching the Queen as well, you know, the actual Her Majesty. And what dignity and what reserve and all the bashing she's had over the years and criticism. And she's always kept her mouth shut. She's so regal. She's so fabulous. And I thought, I'm going to be more like her. And I did, after about 4 years of this crap. And they carried on for about another 4 years. And then they gave up. They couldn't get through our armour. They just couldn't penetrate it. Like the trolls do now. And they stopped being a problem. So we sort of watched them from afar. And more than one of the locals in Marina Bay has intimated to us at Dolphin Safari that the Dolphin Safari are like the royal family. We really are. Because we behave in a different way, and their behaviour has become more and more apparent to the locals and the natives, and well, one of them's ill, very, very ill, and that's another story. I'll tell you all about that in another one. But unless you've had a real narcissist in your life, and these are not just narcissists, these are psychopaths, you don't know. You could have served a lifetime in prison, and that's nothing in comparison. You could have, you could have had a whole host of terrible things happen to you, but until you've had one of these destructive, sodding bastards, let alone 2 of them, in your life, you just can't imagine. You can't imagine the depths of depravity that some human beings will go to. So I hope none of you do have narcs in your life. I call them narcs for short. And I hope you have a happy and troll-free day. And if you have had narcs, or you do have narcs in your life right now, number 1, the best piece of advice is move away, get them out of your life, move away, get away from them. Get away from them. They're dog shit people. They are not worth being anywhere near. But if you can't, then do your bloody best to ignore them and literally rise above it, as my mother would have said. I look forward to your feedback. Thank you for listening.